Hello there folks, Cranky Old Cuber here. Thank you for stopping by for another one of my tutorial and solve videos. I really enjoyed the process of learning how to solve a new puzzle intuitively, and the ShengShou 5-axis puzzles were fun to figure out. Like I said when I unboxed them, with the 180 degree turning faces and the 120 degree layer turns, they really gave off a cuboid vibe. So that's how I approached the solve. And it turns out I only needed 2 cuboid algorithms in my toolbox to solve them. So let's head over to the bench and talk about the puzzles. This is the ShengShou 5-axis 2-layer puzzle. I think the only reason ShengShou called it a 5-axis puzzle is because it's a pentahedron. It only has 4 actual axes, or 8 if you want to count each turnable phase. Notably, Speedcube Shop just calls it a pentahedron. Now, this really is just a 3-layer cube with a hidden 3rd layer, like most even layered puzzles. And I confirmed this because I disassembled it. I had to disassemble it because it had a piece of rattling plastic or something inside it, and I couldn't scan it, so I took it apart. And it turns out it was just a little piece of plastic left over from the manufacturing that was rattling around inside one of these pieces, so I got rid of it. So I had to make up some terminology to talk about this. When I first tried to record this, I got confused because I didn't know what to call stuff. So I made some stuff up. So let's talk about the terminology for a second. There are 2 kinds of faces that can turn 180 degrees. There's what I call the flat, which is this piece, and what I've been calling the beak, which is this piece. Okay? And these both make 180 degree turns. Okay? Each flat shares an axis with a beak. So there's a beak and a flat for each axis. That makes sense. There's a U layer, this guy, and a D layer, this guy. That's pretty normal. While you can do a 60 degree turn with the U layer or the D layer, you can only turn it if it's in pentahedron shape. So if it's not in pentahedron shape like this, there's no turning. So 180 degree turns here, 120 degree turns here. So what this means is you can only exchange triangle pieces for triangle pieces, and you can only exchange diamond pieces for diamond pieces. So the other interesting thing about this puzzle is all the pieces are corners, okay? Though these 3 look different from these 3, they all behave exactly the same. You use the same algorithm to move them around, whether it's a diamond piece or a triangle piece. So let's talk solve strategy. Okay, so the first thing I do is choose if I want to start working with white or yellow and which to solve first. I'm going to do white in this case. I have these 2 white pieces here in the bottom. I have a misplaced triangle piece. The blue piece is already down here, so that's pretty nice. So I only have to really move 3 pieces. So what I'll do first is solve the diamond-shaped pieces, okay? Well, this is pretty simple. This one's up here, it goes here. I don't care about anything else, so I'm just gonna turn it down there, like that. Okay, so now I have all 3 diamond-shaped pieces correctly solved with respect to each other in this layer, all right? So now it's time to solve the triangle-shaped pieces, okay? So now I'll show these algorithms in detail in a minute, but I'm just gonna show you how this works first. So first what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put this corner down here, and I'm gonna use the corner drop algorithm, and remember, all of these things are corners, okay? And so I'm just gonna do that really quickly. Okay, now the blue piece is there, all right? Now I need to exchange these 2. There's a couple of ways I could go about it, but I'm just gonna pull this out, put it here, and then put this here. So we're really just gonna end up swapping them, but let's do it. So I'll pull that one out. Okay, now the red one's up here. I'm gonna turn this over here, and I will put this here, right here. Okay. Okay. And then that green one needs to go down here. Do the same thing. And in this case, it solved the whole thing. So sometimes your top layer will need to be permuted, or you need to cycle these corners around, or sometimes you'll need to swap 2 of these guys on this puzzle. Any of those things can happen, and I'll go through those. But the last thing I do is move the things around in the top layer to fix it. Very similar to a, CFOP solve on a 3x3. So let's do that real quick. And we got to do it one more because I didn't pay attention. Now I had to do that twice because I didn't look carefully and decide which pieces to cycle. So I could have just cycled the diamond-shaped corners once, but instead I cycled the triangles twice. It's okay, doesn't matter. So that's a basic solve strategy. There's not a lot to it. This puzzle is not super complicated. The algorithms I use are pretty simple and only used R2, U, U prime, D, and D prime turns. I keep the puzzle oriented with the U and D layers on top and bottom. They're interchangeable, but I keep one side down. And I use either a beak or a face for those R2 turns, all right? So let's talk about the corner drop algorithm. All right, so what do I mean by corner drop? All I mean is I want to put this corner here, okay? So I'll do it once just to get it out of there. Okay, so this corner, white corner goes here, okay? And I don't really want to disturb these because these are all solved, so I just want to put it back. All right, so this is the same algorithm we use for 3x3x n cuboids, okay? And it goes just like this. I want this corner to go here, so I'm going to go R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, okay? And now that corner's here. Cool thing about it is that does not disrupt anything else on the bottom layer. The only thing it does is it exchanges whatever was here it exchanges whatever was here with whatever we have here. So drops the corner down. That's it. Also works for these corners because remember, they're all corners. So R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. And now that white-red piece is up here and the red-yellow piece is down here. Now we can put it back with the same thing. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. There you go. So the next algorithm is the 3-cycle algorithm. This cycles either the 3 diamond-shaped pieces or the 3 triangle-shaped pieces, and it all depends on what you choose to use for your R, okay? And it only does it in the top layer. It does not mess with the bottom layer at all. So if you want to cycle triangle pieces, then you want to use the flat as your R. So I'll show you the algorithm. And so it goes like this. It goes R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, U prime, D, R2, U prime, R2, U, R2. And what that did was that cycled the triangle pieces around, see, one time clockwise. So the red one went to here, the green one went to here, and the blue one went to here, okay? So now we can fix this by cycling the diamond corner pieces, okay? They only have to go one time clockwise to fix this. Same algorithm, only we use a beak face. So I'm going to do the same thing. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, U prime, D, R2, U prime, R2, U, R2. And voila, they're back in place. You can move 3 pieces around, but occasionally you will get in a situation where you need to move 2. So let me set up the cube. Okay, so we have a case where we have the blue corner needs to go here and the green corner needs to go here. So it's a 2-piece swap. The way this algorithm works is what it's really doing is we're doing 3 corner swaps with a U-turn in between, okay? And the way we're going to do it is since we need to swap these 2, we need to use the flat. So if you need to swap triangles, use flat as your R. If you need to swap diamonds, use a beak as your R, okay? And what I do is I turn the face that doesn't contain the pieces that need to swap. So here we go. We go R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, and then here's a U. Now we're going to swap these 2, R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, U. And now we're going to do these two, R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. And that had the effect of swapping these two pieces, okay? Okay, so I'll use a beak this time, okay? R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, U. Do that twice more. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, U. One more time. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, U. And now they are swapped. Those are the only algorithms you need for this 2-layer. Okay, so let me walk you through a couple of solves. So I do have all the white pieces here in the bottom, and I have all the yellow pieces here in the top, but they are all messed up with respect to each other. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna exchange these two just by turning it up. Turning this over, turn it down, turn this back over, turn it up. And now those 3 pieces are all in the correct spot. Okay. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is get these triangle pieces fixed. So let's use the corner drop algorithm to put this here. So R2, U, R2, U prime. Oh wow, R2. Okay, now this blue one is gonna go over here where this red one is. So let's do the same thing. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. And then the last one we have to do is this one. So let's put it down there. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. Okay, and now we have a cycle on the top. So it looks like these triangle pieces need to go 1 clockwise. So let's do it. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, U prime, D, R2, U prime, R2, U, R prime, 2. That's it. That's solved. Let me scramble it up again and we'll do one more. And then we'll move on to the 3-layer. Okay, new scramble. Okay, well, these 2 white pieces are already down here and they're correct. So let's take this one and put it here. Easiest way to do that is put it over here and turn the beak down. All right. Now these guys are all correct with respect to each other. So let's start putting our triangles down there. Interesting. All right, R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. I'll put the blue one here. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. Then we'll put the red one down here. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. Okay, we have an interesting case here where we have to swap 2 of the diamond corners, okay, to get started, okay, because they're not correct with respect to each other. So let's do that. So I'm going to swap these 2. Doesn't really matter, just pick a pair, but I'm going to swap these 2 and use this as my R. Okay, so to swap them, we go R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, and then a U. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, and then a U. And then we'll do it one more time. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. Now, what that's left us up here is with 2 triangle corners to swap. Okay, pretty easy. Use this as our R, and we'll do the same algorithm. U, prime, R2, U, R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, U, R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, and now we're all solved. That's pretty much it for the 2-layer. Let's talk about the 3-layer version, okay? This guy adds this middle layer, which I call the belt, okay? And what I do is first I solve the middle layer, and then I keep it solved as I solve the rest, okay? And solving the rest is really just a matter of transferring pieces between the top and bottom layers, the U and D layers, and then finally permuting things up here so they're in the right place. I haven't yet gotten into a situation where I needed anything more than the corner drop algorithm and the 3-cycle algorithm. So I need the corner drop to transfer pieces between, to exchange them, and the 3-cycle algorithm just to get the pieces in the top correct, okay? One thing to keep in mind with the corner drop algorithm is it has 3 R2 turns in it. So if you do this, all right, it turns your bar upside down. All this means really is that you may have to do an extra exchange to get the bar correct before you can start working on this. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. Now I have a situation where I need this piece to go down here. However, I've only got one unsolved piece down here and my bar is correct. Well, if I just put that piece down there, now my bar is incorrect, but my whole bottom is solved, okay? And so I don't like this because I want to make sure that when I'm done with this bottom layer, the belt is correct. So I want to make sure that the belt is solved here, okay? So instead of doing it that way, what I'll do is I'll exchange two incorrect pieces like that. And now the bar is upside down. So when I put this back in, the bar will be right side up. Okay. You see how that works? Okay, let me do the two-piece swap algorithm on this puzzle, and I'll show you what happens. Okay, so what I've got here is I just swapped these two corners. Well, you'll also notice the bar's upside down, okay? And so that's why you should never get into a place where the only thing you have is to swap two corners or two of these, because this bar will be upside down too, okay? And that doesn't show up in this because the middle layer and the two layer is hidden. So what we do, we solve the belt, then we solve the bottom layer, whichever one we choose. And in solving the bottom layer, we keep the belt solved, and then we solve the top. Nothing to it. All right, well, let me scramble and we can walk through a couple of solves, okay? Okay, so let's take a look at this and see what we got. All right, let me solve the belt first. I think what I want to do, so I'm going to move this guy and hook it up with this guy and see where we get. All right, now if I take this and turn it, that gets this bar solved, and now all I got to do is turn this beak over, and now the belt is solved. Sometimes you just have to fool around with it, but you'll figure it out. It's not that complex, and it's just a matter of remembering that you can turn both beaks and flats, okay? All right, so what do we have here? All right, so this should be the white, since this matches up, this will be the white layer. So what I'm gonna do is flip it over because I like to work with white on bottom. For some reason, these two need to be swapped. So I'm gonna pull this one out and put this one and put it over here and put that one back over here. So let's pull that out. Corner drop. So all I did was just drop a random corner down here. All right, now, in order to continue solving, I wanna keep using this bar to move things out. That means I have to turn my top and bottom layers to get the things in there. So I need this one to go here because this is red and this is red. So this one goes here. So let's do it. All right, now see, those are linked up. Okay, but our bar is correct now. And I want to put this guy down here, but I want the bar to be upside down. So I'm just going to randomly throw this yellow one down there. Okay. Now the bar is upside down, so now I can do the same thing and put this guy in here correctly, all right? All right, so now we just got to put the triangles down there. All right, well, let's start with this one since it's already here. Put that down there. And there we go, the blue one is correct. The red one is correct. So the green one needs to go down here. Our beak is upside down. This is our beak bar, okay? And so that's good. We just need to put that down there and it'll be fine. So let's do it. And you'll see that we have our bottom solved. Okay, now all we have to do up here is cycle these guys. Interestingly though, if we only want to do it once, we want to cycle these corners because blue goes here, red goes here, green goes here, okay? So let's do it. We do that using the beak as our R, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the cycle algorithm. R2, U prime, R2, U prime D, R2, U prime, R2, U, R2. And that's it. That's it. All right, I'll do one more. So with this scramble, I guess what we can do is we can take this green and match it up to this green center. Okay. And then if we turn this guy, all right, now we can take this red and match it up to this red, and there we go. And then we just turn the bar upside down. Now we're solved again. All right, so are we acting correct? Yep, white is in the correct place, and we just have to move a few things around. Let's pull this guy out. And let's put it where it goes. Over here. Goes there. Kept our bar the same because we're using the same R. All right, so we have this white one here. It goes here, but our bar is right side up. So I'm going to dump this random green one down there. Just like that. Now the bar's upside down. So when we put the red one down there, it'll be right side up. So let's do it. Hey, look at that. And now all we have to do is cycle the triangles. So these need to go one counterclockwise. So what I'm going to do is use this as my R, and I'm going to do the algorithm. And we're solved. And that's it. That's all there is to these things. So now you know how to solve the ShengShou 5-axis puzzles. If you run into any cases I didn't cover, drop a comment below and I'll follow up. Are there any non-WCA puzzles you're having trouble with? Drop me a comment. Maybe I'll do a tutorial or a walkthrough about it. In any case, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.